Good morning, Coach Shane.
Hey everybody, I'm Shane Miller from CrossFit 819, and today what I want to do is help you guys make sure that your shoulders feel good when you're going to do training that involves your shoulders. And when we talk about involving your shoulders, whether or not your shoulders are just having to go into a position that's feeling sort of uncomfortable for holding the weight, or that your shoulders are actually involved in moving the weight, okay? Because both can cause difficulties. If you're doing a front squat, which is where we hold the bar in the front, just getting those arms up into this position, all right, can be really uncomfortable in this area. Okay, so and it can be uncomfortable here, as well as your forearms and wrists. So we're gonna look at some of that. If you're gonna have the bar in the back, like you're doing a back squat, this can also be something that's pretty uncomfortable in the shoulders. It's a pretty extreme range of motion here. So there's a few things that we're gonna look at for that. As well, just when you're either pressing a weight, okay, and you need to have a good range of flexion of your shoulder, or if you're catching, you're clean. If you're catching a snatch or doing an overhead squat position, anything where your arm is in that position where it's pulled back, sometimes you can have some pain or discomfort in here. And there's a number of things that we can do to sort of help you with that. Now, in a previous video, we talked about build-up sets, okay? And when you do your build-up sets, the idea is that, okay, I'm gonna start out with the empty bar. So I'm gonna grab the empty bar, I do my first set of like 8 reps. Then I add a bit of weight, okay? And after adding a bit of weight, I do another set. And then I add a little bit more weight, and I do another set. And at a certain point, you might feel like, well, it's starting to feel weird in there, or the load is starting, you know, it was okay when it was light, but now it's starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. So what can I do about it? Okay, so the first thing is you want to make sure that you have enough range of motion, okay, and that the muscles are warmed up. So for example, if you're having trouble getting all the way up like this, okay, maybe your lats, okay, and maybe the muscles around your shoulder blades and your triceps are a little bit tight. So we're going to do a couple stretches for these things. First thing we can do is we can stretch the lats. We'll use a band.
So this is now we're introducing stretching for, let's say, a front rack workout positions.
Exactly. Like
all right.
if you're doing front squats and you're finding that at the beginning when the weights were light, you didn't feel too much, but as it's getting heavier, you're finding it's really hard to keep your elbows up, okay, and it's pretty uncomfortable, then using a band like this to help stretch your lats can really help. So put your hand inside the band, grab hold of the band, make sure your shoulder goes into external rotation, okay? And then you're gonna step back, put your leg back on the same side, nice and far, and then bring your body down and push your hips kind of away so that you're getting a stretch through here. So you're gonna stretch in this position and just go about 30 seconds. You can also play around with a bit of a contraction and then release, push a bit further, contract, release, push a bit further, okay? Contract, relax is always a good trick, okay? If your tricep is tight, so you're here like this and you feel like it's really tight in here, right? We're gonna do a stretch for your triceps, okay? So stretch for your triceps. Triceps have 2 insertion points, one down here, one back here. Because of this, you can't just kind of go like this. Okay, this is not enough because you also have to put this joint at the end of its range of motion. To do that, one of the easiest ways, grab your wrist, push it into your shoulder, put your elbow up high on the rig, turn your body kind of face in, and contract your abdominals so that you don't lean in and just arch your back. That's not gonna work. So contract your abdominals, pushing your wrist into your shoulder like this, and you're gonna bring your armpit in towards the rig, making sure you're keeping this tight here. Okay, don't let it go, because I can get my body to go right in and I feel no stretch. Right? I've got to keep my body back, crunch my abdominals, and then be pushing in here, trying to get this in with this push down. It's gonna give you a really good stretch if you've never tried that one before.
Cool.
Okay? Another thing that might be really limiting you, okay, could be, and this is the other thing too, you know, this is a yoga ball. These are common things that you use for soft tissue work. But if you don't have one of these, you know, a lacrosse ball works. This will get deeper into the tissues. So if you have thick muscles and you really need to dig hard, this is a good one. But you know, baseball, softball, they're all good, okay? As long as they're relatively firm. So we're gonna come in here like this. So your pec, let's say you're trying to do a back squat, okay? And it's like you're trying to get your hand behind that bar, your rotator cuff is burning, it's really hurting in here. Could be because your pec is really tight if your shoulders are pulled forward. So a good way to help that, we're gonna take the ball, put it on right in here. This is where your pec minor sort of is. And you're gonna come in, lean against the wall, okay? get a bit of an angle. You may have to bring the ball a bit lower. If you bring the ball lower, you can push harder against the wall, right? Depending where you need the pressure. And then move your arm around, going through the range of motion that's required. So for example, if I need to do a back squat, and I need my hand to be back here, all right, then it's gonna be good for me to do this, leaning in, and make sure I go through the range with my hand around this position. Roll through that muscle. Move it around a bit, roll through it a bit more. Okay, these are all things that are gonna help to open up and make this feel a bit more free, all right? Now, if you can come around the front for just a second. If you're wanting to do a front squat, okay? And you get your bar, you pick it up, and your elbows just don't seem to want to go higher, okay? First of all, getting them both to go high at the same time may be challenging for you, but just try pushing one up. Just see how it feels. Then push the other one up, okay? Practice just pushing into that position so you get the idea of how to do that, right? Bring the bar to the back, shoot your hands out a little bit, and then think of pushing your elbows forward. When you do this, when they get far enough, you're gonna feel a big stretch, okay? And just letting it sit there, go in and out of that position a number of times, maybe holding it a little bit. You can even push up on the bar. That actually contracts the muscle, then you release it. See how my elbows go higher? All right? Push up into the bar, release it, my elbows go higher. All right? It's a good little trick, contract, relax, stretching, okay? So that's a very good one. And one of my favorites, all right, again, this is to help you get a good front rack position. So you come behind the rack. All right, so you're not gonna stand in front of it.
Yep.
And you're going to put your arm on top of the bar, hand on the other side here. Get your hand here, and you're gonna just push your hips backwards. Now when I get into this position, and I'm pushing my hips back, my shoulder is in a fairly extreme range of motion. It's right at the end, so I don't want to push hard into that position.
Yep.
I want to just gently push into that position and get a gentle stretch. I'm going to hold that stretch about 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, I'm going to push my elbow down against the bar and push in like an arm wrestle at the same time. So I go, find the gentle stretch, hold it 10 seconds. Then I'm going to push down and in for 10 seconds. And again, don't push hard. If you push hard and you're not used to this, it can really hurt, okay? Because you're already at the end of the range of motion. So gentle contraction, and then you release the contraction. And you should notice you can push your hips back further and go further into the movement before you get a stretch again. And that's actually really beneficial. You're gonna see right away when I come up, the difference, and I'm not faking that, that's legit. When I push them up, the one side goes up much easier than the other. Okay? So these are all some of the best ways to get prepared for anything that's a front rack position.
Nice.
Now let's say your front rack is fine, but you need to have, let's say you're pressing and it's right here at the top, and it feels like it's not going into the position. There's a couple things. It could be, again, related to your pecs or lats, but it could also be bicep tendon. In this position and overhead, sometimes the bicep tendon can really be irritated. There's a couple ways you can stretch your bicep. Right? Get your hand on here like this. I prefer to go palm down. I just put my hand like this, right up against here. I'm gonna flex my tricep. And you can see when I do that, that it just puts the split of your bicep apparent. And then you just twist your body, and you can still do the contract, relax. So it's like contract, relax, go a little further. Contract, relax, go a little further, all right? Another one that you can do, it's a dynamic form of this, just hands out like this, stretch into the bicep, stretch into the bicep, back and forth like this. This is another really good stretch, and some of you will be quite surprised when you first try that one, or the one here like this, that all of a sudden this position feels a lot better, okay? Additionally, stretching, actually I'll show you, if you stay down here, the child's pose is really good because sometimes it's not just flexion of the shoulder. Sometimes it's actually, if your shoulder blades are kind of stuck on your rib cage and they don't move around much. First of all, it's really hard to get this, as we already talked about, but it's also hard to have a position that's far enough back because your shoulder blades need to come up a bit for that to happen. So come down in the child's pose, it's like a yoga stretch. I like to do it this way because I want my elbows, I want my shoulders to get externally rotated. I'm just gonna drop down as low as I can. Don't hyperextend your back. Keep your abdominals a little bit contracted so you're like in a hollow position. And just push your armpits towards the floor. And really try to get, you should feel this one right here. Okay, as the shoulder blade stretches away from the rib cage, that direction. Okay, you're really stretching it. You're pushing your body down and into the floor, pushing in like this. Okay, this is a very good one, and you can also do things like this as well, where you just take a band, all right, and start off, get a contraction in your core, and just kind of lean forward till you feel a stretch. Hold it 5 or 10 seconds. Do a bit of a contraction, so you push forward into the band, release, then go a bit further into the stretch. When you go further into the stretch, don't trick yourself going like this. Wow, look how much further I went, okay? The movement has to be here, okay? So keep your core tight, all right? You can squeeze your glute and you get a bit of an extra stretch in your quads at the time. So you push forward, get your stretch, hold it 5 or 10 seconds, push forward into the band, 5 or 10 seconds, release, go a bit further. And you can do this on a straight line if you want. You can do it here, you can also do it here, 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 and at every angle in between, where you go into your stretch, push forward a bit, release. They're all going to give you a little bit more contribution towards a good 360-degree range of motion, all right? We've got a full complement of crossover symmetry bands, and we're going to do a video in the future on how to effectively use those as well to help. I hope this video has helped you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Thanks very much, guys. See you in class.